A good college. Speed and agility. Garrison Hearst possesses those qualities, plus an incredible vision of the field. That's why he was a Heisman contender in '92. Robert Smith of Ohio State has a chance to be a great college back, but controversy and injuries have dogged his career. Can he move from pretender to contender in '93? Ray Goff's Dogs have won 13 of their last 16 games, and John Cooper's looking for his first bowl victory at Ohio State. And we welcome you to the Citrus Bowl in Orlando, Florida, as ABC Sports College Football is proud to present the Florida Citrus Bowl as Georgia of the Southeastern Conference meets Ohio State of the Big Ten. And Happy New Year, everybody. I'm Roger Schwabo, and glad you can kick off your 1993 with us here on ABC Sports. Ohio State University from the Big Ten, the runner-up there, and the University of Georgia from the Southeastern Conference, the runner-up there, have never met before. A couple of great traditions in college football. Between them, 7 Heisman Trophy winners and 5 national titles. And as I introduce my colleague, Tim Branton, Happy New Year to you, Tim. This has been a high-powered Georgia offense this year, 450 yards per game. That was a new school record.
Happy New Year to you, and Happy New Year to you, everybody. And you're right. And the most impressive thing about that ball club is the fact they turn those yards into points. 32 points a game. And the guy that makes this thing go, you know him, Garrison Hearst. 3rd in the Heisman balloting. He ran for over 1,500 yards this year, 19 touchdowns. Now, Ohio State has said all week, they've got to stop this man to win the ball game. So they'll be with him every step of the way. The guy who the pressure falls on then is Eric Zier, the quarterback. Had a tremendous freshman year last year, came back this year. He was strong and solid again, but he's got to be able to throw the ball today. If he does throw, he'll be going to this man, Andre Hastings. He is spectacular. 52 receptions this year. That's a Georgia record. But the most impressive thing, Roger, he can run with the football after he makes the catch. Soft hands, tough body. He's the real deal.
And here are the Buckeyes of Ohio State University. Ohio State University, Tim, with one of the best defenses in the Big Ten this year. As a matter of fact, 4th in the nation in scoring defense, giving up 12.5 a game, and their front 7 real tough.
We've talked about this all week. Offense against defense, and Ohio State does have that defense. A defense, they say, is very quick, not only big. The guy who leads the way, of course, is the All-American middle linebacker. That's Steve Tovar. Here is an interesting story. Could have left last year to go to the National Football League, but opted instead to come back for his senior year because he wanted to play in the Rose Bowl. Didn't get there, but he is a player. Now, I think the key to this defense has to be in the middle. Greg Smith, tremendous story there as well. Walk on, earned a scholarship, became all Big Ten, tremendous middle guard. Next to him, Dan Wilkinson, the freshman, he's the sack leader. I think those two right there will be a mismatch with the Georgia guards.
Ohio State and Georgia for the first time ever in the Florida Citrus Bowl. We'll be right back to Orlando after this. And welcome back here to the Florida Citrus Bowl. Georgia has won the toss. They've deferred. Ohio State will receive. But first, let's go down to the sidelines. Also working with us today, Mark Jones. And Happy New Year, Mark.
Guys, 72 degrees on the field. Sun just coming out. They're expecting a little cloud cover, so heat might be a problem. But both teams have been here for a while. Ohio State arrived on the 20th. They say they're acclimated. Georgia got here on the 23rd. Ray Goff told me before the game he'd be shocked if his team wasn't ready to play today. Happy New Year, and back upstairs to you two.
And thank you very much, Mark.
Lampshades. Of course, Mark Jones thought he was the lamp.
Todd Peterson will kick it off for the University of Georgia. And back deep for the Buckeyes of Ohio State, number 33, Butler Benote, and number 26, Robert Smith. And look at the averages, Tim. Those two guys over 27 and 26 yards, respectively.
Both dangerous. I think it's interesting that Georgia wants its defense on the field first. Of course, we talked offensively about the Dogs.
And the kick will go to Smith. He steps back in the end zone. Is going to bring it out. On the sideline. And the official is going to rule him out of bounds at the 17-yard line. They're going to take it back 20 yards to the 17. And we'll set the lineup for you for Ohio State right now. And senior Kirk Herbstreit. See what he's done there. 61% this year. That's an Ohio State record. Brian Stabline. Watch him. He is the go-to guy when Herbstreit's in trouble. And there's a look at the backs and other receivers. Offensive line, when they need that yard or two, they'll go on the left side. 290-pound Alan Klein. As Ohio State will take it 1st and 10. They mark it at the 16-yard line. In motion to Grafenreid. And they'll hand it to Smith. Big hole on the right side across the 25 to the 26-yard line. And let's set the Bulldogs defense for you right now. You heard Ray Goff said they were underrated. These seniors do a solid job up front. Wallace, Barnum, and Jackson. The backers, this is a freshman, Randall Godfrey, made over 100 tackles this year. And in the secondary for Georgia, the hardest hitter and a guy with over 100 tackles himself, Greg Trimble. They got the first down, so it's 1st and 10 from the 27-yard line. Play action. Herbstreit near side and got his receiver at the 44-yard line. And guess who? Brian Stabline. 51 receptions coming into this game. 17 yards on that pickup.
He is the leading receiver. Steady, sure-handed. Not great speed, but he is deceptive. Again, good play action. Herbstreit's he makes all this go with the fake and then just drops back. They wanted to get him some high percentage passes early on to build his confidence, and this was not a hard pass, but it was well thrown.
Stabline's now caught a pass in 25 consecutive games for the Buckeyes. One back set for the Buckeyes. And they'll give it to Smith. Gets around the end near midfield, just across midfield to the 49-yard line. Robert Smith with a strong finish to the 1992 season. Had some injury problems early in the year. You see his last 4 games, 484 yards, 6 touchdowns, averaging 7 yards a carry. And Tim, you look at that potential. He's just got to do it on a consistent basis.
Absolutely. You know, John Cooper reportedly got everybody's attention at the media conference the other day when he said he considers juniors Robert Smith and Roger Harper to be first-round picks in April at the NFL draft. And to my knowledge, neither Smith nor Harper has confirmed an intent to leave school early.
3rd down and 4. Saunders, the tight end, in motion. Herbstreit got to come back the other way. Turns it up. In trouble and dumped at the 45-yard line. Mitch Davis, the junior from Mobile, Alabama. 86 tackles on the year and 8.5 sacks. Well, that'll bring up a 4th down situation. 4th and 9 as Joel Kessel, the punter, in the game. Andre Hastings back deep, the punt returner for the University of Georgia at the 15-yard line. Kessel averaged 35.2 yards for 46 punts, and this is a very high punt. Takes a good Ohio State bounce inside the 20, and that's where it'll roll dead, and that's where Georgia will have it when we return with 13:06 to go, first quarter, from the Florida Citrus Bowl. And welcome back to Orlando. Georgia set to go offensively, and they've got a quarterback. The power of positive thinking. This is the most upbeat kid I've been around a long time. Look at his career numbers, 2nd in Georgia history with 4,232 yards, completions, attempts. Fine young quarterback. Sophomore from Marietta.
He will shatter every record, Roger, before he's done.
1st and 10 from the 20-yard line for the Georgia Bulldogs. Garrison Hearst to the 26-yard line. And let's check out the backfield and receivers. And we highlight Max Strong, the senior fullback, who many feel is the most underrated player in the Southeastern Conference, if not the United States. Up front, big man there is Bernard Williams, 6'9", 294 pounds. He's big and strong, and Wilkinson and him are going to butt some heads today.
You know what I thought was interesting talking to the coaches? Here you have Hearst, 3rd in the Heisman, and they say Strong is the most important player on the team.
2nd and 4 from the 26. Zaire on the move, incomplete at the 35-yard line, where the intended receiver was Shannon Mitchell, the tight end, and Byron Cook put a big stick on it.
I thought Zaire should have run this. He had already broken containment. You can see 84 there. That's Powell. He's the outside guy. Instead, Zaire throws high, just leaves his tight end up there, and there's Mitchell reaching for it. And then Cook comes in and has the free shot.
Well, Shannon Mitchell left the field under his own power, and Paul Etheridge, 86, will check into the game right now. 3rd down and 4 from the 26-yard line. Shift back into the 2-back set. They give it to Hearst. Great balance. Hearst still going to the 39-yard line. Garrison Hearst. Roger Harper was a man that finally brought him down after 13 yards on the pickup, and he showed you his strength and his agility by breaking that tackle at the line of scrimmage.
Boy, watch this now. Chico Nelson, what I used to call banjo defense. This free safety comes up almost like a linebacker, has a shot on him there, but does not wrap his arms. If that leaves Hearst now into the secondary without a free safety because he's already passed him, and now you've got to get support from both sides and the trail guys.
Hearst averaged 6.7 yards per carry, rushed for over 1,500 yards this year. First and 10, 40-yard line for Georgia. Zaire got his man. That's number 1. You'll see a lot of him today, Andre Hastings. And right now, let's set the defense for Ohio State University. Up front, Dan Wilkinson, the big man, number 72, a freshman, 6'5", 300 pounds. The linebackers, and these are some quick ones. Craig Powell can run step for step with Robert Smith. And in the secondary, look for Tim Walton. He's from the state of Georgia, and he is a powerful hitter. First and 10. Handoff up the middle. Checking in there's Terrell Davis. And Davis coming in to give Garrison Hearst a rest. Gets the first down to the 31-yard line. 14 yards on the pickup for the transfer from Cal State Long Beach, who came to Georgia after they dropped their football program.
Davis, the best kept secret in the SEC. He was a transfer, as you said, from Long Beach. And because of Hearst, he doesn't get a whole lot of playing time. But when he's in, he capitalizes. Again, outstanding blocking. Powell tries to one-arm him. You can't. He's 200 pounds. He breaks that. And the big gain.
On first and 10, Zaire will roll to the near side, and he's got his receiver inside the 20. That's Andre Hastings. 13 yards on the pickup. And this is unusual, Tim, for the University of Georgia. They are a quick strike offense. Roughly 60% of their drives covered 60 or more yards in 2 minutes or less. So for them to string together a lot of plays and use up the clock is highly unusual.
I think they're answering the challenge. Ohio State said we have to stop Hearst, stop the running game. So they're running at him, and they haven't stopped him yet.
Davis still in at tailback on first and 10 from the 18. Zaire checks off at the line of scrimmage. Davis up the middle. Inside the 15, down to the 13-yard line, and so far it's been that offensive line of Ohio State University dominating the people up front for Ohio State. Craig Powell, the freshman from Youngstown, Ohio, came up to make the tackle on that play.
He had to. Greg Smith, we talked about him in the open. The middle guard for Ohio State had a shot at him, tried to one-arm him. They're not wrapping. They're not taking their arms and locking them around the ball carriers, and the Georgia backs are just breaking those.
Second down and 4. 9:15 to go, first quarter. And Max Strong, the senior from Columbus, Georgia, doesn't get much, but it's interesting that the running backs for the University of Georgia, they all average over 6 yards a carry. Davis over 6 yards. Hearst over 6 yards. Max Strong right at about 6 yards a carry. And Frank Harvey, 6.5 yards. As Ray Goff, a 9-2 year. Still, though, looking to beat Steve Spurrier and the Florida Gators. They haven't done it the last couple of years. That's the thorn in the side of a lot of Georgia Bulldog fans. On a 3rd down and 3, Hearst has the pitch, cuts it up. Looks like he's got the first down at the 6-yard line. Mark Williams, 51, the junior outside backer from Upper Marlboro, Maryland, came up to make the tackle as we give that hometown for Tim Brandt's benefit.
Got to get those Maryland guys in there.
Good drive put together here by Georgia. They've had the ball about 5 minutes. First and 10 as they spot it at the, make it first and goal, excuse me, from the 7-yard line. 10th play of this drive. Hearst. Close, no signal yet.
No, Tobar wouldn't let him in.
And so the Georgia Bulldogs with 7:15 to go. First quarter will have a 3rd and goal from the 1 and the 11th play of this drive. And Tim, they've only had one drive of 12 plays or more this year. This is really unusual.
Tell you what else is unusual. Georgia threw 260 passes this year, 355 last year. I remember seasons Georgia didn't go 80 times and throw the ball.
Frank Harvey is the up back. Garrison Hearst set deep. Hearst outside, Hill Lawson. His 20th rushing touchdown of the year, and the University of Georgia is on the board first here in the Florida Citrus Bowl.
Freeze it right here. This play is already a touchdown because here you're contained guys. Now watch how they get caught inside and can't get outside. Now Hearst sees that, and once Hearst sees those guys go down, he can walk into the end zone. Touchdown Georgia, big drive for Hearst. Bulldogs were impressive.
Todd Peterson to attempt the point after, only missed one this year. That one's good. And the University of Georgia, folks, is 7-0 under Ray Goff when they score first. Is it an omen? Could very well be with 6:48 to go. First quarter. Garrison Hearst, the touchdown, and Tim, the longest scoring drive of the year for the Bulldogs, 14 plays.
Hearst, 8 carries, 44 yards. You know, Wayne McDuffie once told me this offense, a little bit of Florida State, a little bit of Miami, the old Georgia I, Louisiana Tech, Atlanta Falcons, everywhere he's been. I mean, it's like a mutt attack. It's a little bit of everything. Conglomeration. But what McDuffie, the offensive coordinator, brings is togetherness.
Todd Peterson to kick it off for Georgia. Back deep. Butler Benote and Robert Smith. And Benote is going to say no go. We'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. 3rd down and 3. The Graffenried in motion once again. And once again it's Smith. And he gets the first down across the 15-yard line. Randall Godfrey, 42, and Damon Ward, 53, in the middle to make the stop. What a lot of people forget about Robert Smith, he's got good size, Tim. He's strong.
He does have good size. He's 6'2", almost 200 pounds. He, too, is a medicine, has aspirations of getting into medicine and being a doctor. But, you know, we joke about Richard Bell, the defensive coordinator for Georgia, but he comes out, he's got a terrific defensive scheme.
That ends the first quarter of this Florida Citrus Bowl with Georgia leading Ohio State 7-0. Florida Citrus Bowl. I'm Roger Twabo along with Tim Brandt, Mark Jones. Happy New Year to all of you out there. Glad you kicked off your new year here with ABC Sports. First of 3 games today as Georgia leads Ohio State 7-0 as we start the second quarter. 1st and 10 from the 16-yard line as the Graffenried goes in motion for the Buckeyes. Straight up the middle, powering it straight ahead is Robert Smith, and the offensive surge right there by the Ohio State Buckeyes creating some room. Damon Ward and Greg Jackson on the tackle, and let's check those stats from the first quarter, Tim.
Roger, they say the best defense is a good offense, and that's what Georgia's done in the first half. Just first of all, look at the rushing yards right here, 72. Total yards 104. They've dominated, but this is the important one right here, the time of possession. Almost 11 minutes of the first 15. The offense of Georgia has been on the field and not given Ohio State the opportunity to get theirs going.
And this is from the quick strike Georgia offense, as once again they go to Smith and he goes nowhere. Stopped right at the 21-yard line by Greg Jackson, who this year made 105 tackles. Not a big man playing that defensive line, 6'2", 245, the senior. Good quickness, good pursuit. Robert Smith, of course, rushed for over 1,000 yards his freshman year at Ohio State. Hey, there's my favorite dog in the world.
Oh, good.
But Smith rushed for over 1,000 yards his freshman year. Then a controversy, his sophomore year, decided to sit out that season. Now back this year. Had some injuries early in the year, but finished strong.
Uga looks like a lot of people feel today.
3rd and 4 from the 21. Herbstreet's got his man wide open at Stabline to the 35-yard line where Chris Wilson makes the tackle, 14 yards on the pickup.
His 53rd catch of the year. Watch him from the left side of your screen. He just kind of drifts his way out. Looks like he's going to block. Now comes in under the zone, finds the open area, and then turns and tries to make positive yardage out of it. And Wilson, the right corner, makes the stop. Stabline's brother Chris was a quarterback at Ohio State. got a shot with the Dolphins.
2 receptions, 31 yards. His brother's the one that got him to walk on at Ohio State out of Erie, Pennsylvania. 1st and 10. Raymond Harris. Good bit of running there around the left side, and they've got another 1st down up to the 34-yard line where Buster Owens, a redshirt freshman from LaGrange, Georgia, finally makes a stop. 13 yards on the pickup. And, Tim, they can go deep at running back, Ohio State, with Smith, Harris, and Butler Benote.
Absolutely. I think it's interesting we were talking about Harris being tackle to tackle, and he takes that ball outside. You know, his nickname is Quiet Storm, and he likes to be known as the ultra back. So he breaks outside that time and moves the chains again.
1st and 10, Robert Smith. He's got the 1st down to the 41-yard line. Big pickup on 1st and 10 with 6:44 left to go 1st half. 14 yards on the pickup as Trimble and Ward made the tackles. So after getting the turnover, having to call the timeout because they were not going to get the play off, they come back with a good solid play on their 1st down possession, and they've got it 1st and 10 at the 40-yard line of Georgia. Smith once again following the middle of the line inside to the 38. This is the furthest that Ohio State has been into Georgia territory in this game on 2nd and 8 from the 38-yard line. Once again, Smith, not much there off the right side. He gets a couple. Damon Ward was the first man to get to him. Ward 53, 66 tackles this year, sophomore from Memphis, Tennessee. This Georgia defense, 29.5 sacks this year. They forced 15 fumbles. They had 12 interceptions. They allowed 12.8 points per game.
Damon Ward, one of the surprises for Georgia. The coaches were surprised at how he came on. And should mention also that Travis Jones is the guy who's taking Greg Jackson's place at right tackle.
As Mark Jones mentioned, Jason Winrow is back in the game, number 68 at right tackle. Smith, after the long count, needs to get to the 30. Looks like he did. Paul Long, the center, a senior from Highland Heights, Ohio, 6'5", 282. This was a guy that the Georgia defensive people were very concerned about. Felt that he was very strong. It would cause him some problems, and that's where Smith went, right behind him.
Ohio State now having some success on 3rd down. They're 4 for 8. But again, look at the line surge. All the red jerseys fire out. They get their penetrations, and then Smith follows it up for the 1st. But it's the long count, hard count, trying to draw them off sides that really made that thing go. Softened up the defensive front for Georgia.
1st and 10, 29-yard line. In motion there, number 17, Chris Sanders. As Smith will try to cut it back against the grain as he gets near the 25-yard line, where he's pulled back immediately. 49, Maurice Harrell. Also 92, Tom Wallace, the left tackle, the senior from Madison, Ohio, the only player from Ohio on the Georgia roster. Junior college transfer from Allen Hancock JC out in California. 78 tackles this year, 6'6" and 275.
Wallace and Harrell got out the rake. They were trying to rake that ball out of Smith's arms.
Must be a big game for him coming out of that state of Ohio. Had to go the junior college route, ended up at Georgia. 2nd and 7. Georgia's dipped into the junior college ranks a bit the last few years to help beef things up. As on 2nd and 7 from the 26, Hearst Street. Going back against the grain, and he's got his receiver Beatty. Greg Beatty, the senior from Houston, Texas, comes up with the reception and the 1st down. Mitch Davis and Damon Ward putting pressure on Herbstreit, who hasn't had a lot of success, Tim, rolling out of the pocket and trying to throw today.
No, but stop it right here, and you see the block that Smith's giving him right here. But then he tries to throw back against his body. Tough pass, great completion. Watch this. Going to his left, throws back to his right, finds the little break right there, the open area, and hits Beatty. That's a tough pass to throw.
Herbstreit's the most accurate passer in Buckeye history. He's completed nearly 60% on 1st and 10 from the 18-yard line. Watch this man move, Butler Benote, and you'll see him in the football game a lot when they get inside the 20-yard line because he's so versatile. He can catch the ball, he can run with it. Wallace and Jones in on the tackle. As you take a look at Benote, nearly 5 yards a carry this year.
Cannot tell you how much the blocking has improved on this drive. First of all, stop it there. All right, this area is all sealed. Here comes the lead blocker. Look at this. That's the area. Now let it roll. And you see 85 Saunders there leading the way. Watch the block he gets. Turns it up. Bingo. Yardage. Nicely done.
3:10 left to go, first half. Benote, the deep back, on 2nd and 4. Butler Benote turns it up inside the 5 to the 4.5. And Ohio State's got something working here.
Exact same play again. Saunders with another big block on the corner. Oh, they're muscling it now. Watch this. You talk about the muscle. All right, let's go back the same way. All right, stop it here. Here he comes. This is Saunders. Watch this block he puts on the corner to allow this to pick up positive yardage. Bam!
He's the tight end pulling out to the other side.
Exactly.
Yeah. 1st and goal. They spotted at the 5-yard line. Benote, with just 1 rushing touchdown this year, is out of the game, and Smith is back in, and he gets it. Smith. He was close to the goal line and then stood up at the 1-yard line. Greg Trimble, 24, and Chad Wilson, 19.
That's right. Those two made the contact, and then Jones came in and actually took him back the other way, away from the goal line.
How hard did he hit him?
Bam. Rattled the fillings, put his eyeballs up in his forehead.
2nd down.
Watch this. First of all, those two guys will stand him up. All right, here it comes. First hit, second hit. Now watch number 9 come out of the right of your screen. Bam, and put him right on his side.
15th play of the drive. 2nd and goal from the 1. Coughlin. First man through. No signal. They went to the fullback. Jeff Coughlin, the first man through. And Torrey Evans, 45. One of the initial defensive players to come into contact with the fullback.
3rd and goal.
Clock running down now. 1:34 left to go first half. And for Ohio State, 3rd and goal from the 1. Smith gets the score. That was about as easy as Garrison Hearst had it going in. Almost the same play, Tim.
What a great block by Jeff Cochran that time. He isolated the right cornerback, Chad Wilson, and pancaked him. You get a big block right here, and I'm telling you, that is big.
Well, Tim, the fumble by Georgia leads directly to this touchdown by Ohio State, as Tim Williams will come on to attempt the point after to tie it up at 7 apiece with 1:17 left to go first half. And for Robert Smith, his 9th rushing touchdown of the year. Pick is up and good. 103 out of 105 in his career at Ohio State for Williams, and we're tied at 7. We'll return with more action from the Florida Citrus Bowl after this message and a word from our ABC stations. We're tied at 7 at halftime. And welcome back here to Orlando, the Florida Citrus Bowl. We get set to start the second half of play between Georgia, their head coach Ray Goff right there, and Ohio State University and their head coach John Cooper. We're tied at 7. I'm Roger Twybo along with Tim Brandt and Mark Jones. As I don't know, Tim, I think maybe we expected a little bit more offensive punch from both teams in the first half, even though these are both good defensive teams.
I agree with you, Roger. As a matter of fact, the first quarter was all Georgia offense. The second quarter was all Ohio State. As a matter of fact, Hearst, 71 yards in the first quarter. He only had 9 in the second.
Let's go down to Mark Jones. Mark?
Roger, Tim, on the first day down here in practice, Tim Williams, the Ohio State place kicker, broke his wrist when Steve Tovar ran into it during a kicking drill. Now, he wears 2 different casts on his right wrist. One of them is a soft one, which he's wearing now. The other one is a hard one, which he wears when he's not playing. I asked him, does it affect your kicking, Tim? He said, Mark, you know, strangely enough, it gives me more weight and torque on the right side of my body, and it straightens out my kicks, and I'm not hooking them quite as much anymore. Back upstairs to you.
Hey, Mark, he was just kidding you. That's a that's a kicker answer, isn't it?
I tell you what, when you can get torque on it, that really gets it going.
Oh, man. Set to go. Hastings and Hearst back deep for the University of Georgia.
Now I know why you always wear those casts when you play golf.
That's right. Williams with a high kick that Hastings will take at the 6-yard line. As the sun is shining brightly right now. And Andre Hastings, near side. And guess who knocked him out of bounds? Tim Williams, the kicker, number 23 at the 45-yard line with a touchdown-saving tackle. 49 yards on the return.
Hide and seek, hunt and peck. Watch this. Right now he's just trying to get back to the 20. Makes a move here, gets 2 blocks. Now he sees another alley coming up here. See how they wall that off? No more blockers, so he's just trying to get as much of the yardage as he can there, and then Williams knocks him out.
Hastings averages over 27 yards per kickoff return this year. Georgia, 1st and 10 from the 45-yard line. Garrison Hearst down to the 42. And let's take a look, Tim, at those halftime statistics.
Well, we were telling you it was like 2 different quarters, 2 different teams. You can see the time of possession now is almost even. As a matter of fact, it was heavy in the favor right here of Georgia in the first quarter. Then it came back and it's been even out in the second quarter. But I think still, as you look at these statistics, the big one to me is Hearst had 17 carries, 71 yards in the first quarter to 6 carries, 9 yards in the second quarter.
2nd down and 7. Garrison Hearst breaks the tackle. Inside the 30, look at him go. All the way inside the 10 to the 9-yard line, where Brian Cook finally knocked him out of bounds. 34 yards on the pickup. Man, he shows you some speed once he gets it to the outside.
He must have taken a look at those second quarter statistics and didn't like them. Nelson missed the tackle, and all of a sudden, once he gets outside, he does have a great burst of speed. Look at the block. Boy, last year he missed a lot of practice time early working on academics and had to play catch-up all year. This year he came in on time, and he's been strong all year.
14 carries, 90 yards for Garrison Hearst as Hastings goes in motion on 1st and goal from the 8, and Hearst has got it up the middle, pounds his way inside the 5 to the 4-yard line.
Roger, he just looks so comfortable in this offense in the stadium. You know, he played here in 1990 in the Florida-Georgia High School All-Star game, ran for 180 yards and scored a touchdown in that game, so he loves this place. We talked about Tovar 58 in the pregame, but watch how they seal him off. He comes through, looks like he's going to get there, but a terrific block up front.
2nd and goal at the 5-yard line. Zaire on a quick slant. Hastings, the intended receiver, he was well covered right there. Number 18 was back there for Ohio State University. Tim Walton, the native of Columbus, Georgia. 6 foot, 170-pound junior.
3rd and goal.
So Georgia here on the opening drive of the second half off the run back by Andre Hastings.
You wanted offense, Roger. You're getting it.
3rd down and goal from the 5-yard line. Hand off to Hearst. Spins. Gets loose. Touchdown. Big time move right there by Garrison Hearst.
Early in the game, we told you Craig Powell, the weak side linebacker, was missing tackles. He wasn't wrapping up. I want you to watch 84. Stop it right here. Here comes 84. He's got one arm on him. Let it roll. No shot. Cannot even get over to him.
16 carries, 98 yards, 2 touchdowns as Todd Peterson knocks it through. And that quick strike offense is back. That drive took all of 1 minute and 33 seconds as Georgia leads Ohio State 14-7. A humid day here in Orlando, Florida. After the clouds had burned off, foggy this morning. Garrison Hearst sitting by that cooler down there, getting a little oxygen. 3rd quarter has been the Bulldogs' quarter this year. They've outscored their opponents 101-17, and that quick strike offense back in force as the kickoff down to Butler Benarte, who fumbles it and goes out of the end zone. And Ohio State will take over 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. But 14-7, Georgia leads Ohio State as Smith looking for room. Got it off the right side. Robert Smith up to the 38-yard line, and good blocking that time by Paul Long, the center, Dave Mono, the right guard, and Jason Winrow, the right tackle, on the 12-yard pickup.
He's like Houdini on this play. He finds a hole that's not even there. Comes off the right side. Now watch this. Bam, just big enough to get through, makes his cut. When you ask the coaches, say, Coach, can you describe Robert Smith? They say very intelligent, hardworking, extremely talented, who continues to mature.
19 carries, 91 yards. Is Cothran right up the middle that time. Cothran close to the first down. Greg Trimble comes up to make the tackle, and that time it was the option. They gave it to Cothran right up the middle, and once again, good blocking there by Long, Mono, and Corey Stringer has just checked into the game. He's 6'6", 310 pounds, a freshman, number 78 from Warren, Ohio, who was the Big Ten Freshman of the Year.
He's a low 310 pounds.
Can you believe these guys are 300-pounders coming out of high school, Tim?
That's when your parents say, man, I can't wait till you go to college. Get on that training table. You're eating me out of house and home.
First and 10, 48-yard line, 9:32. Up to go, third quarter. Smith down to the 47-yard line. Maurice Harrell, 49, came up to make the stop, but it looks like Ohio State is going to stick with that ground game. That's where their success has been.
And the Buckeyes are moving so much better now. I don't know if you saw Len Hartman, the left guard, get out in front of the play that time. Cothran got out. He was a leader. This could be the best fullback that Georgia has seen this year.
First and 10, 33-yard line. Best field position for the Buckeyes since the fumble recovery back in the first half. And right up the gut and running hard, Raymond Harris down to the 25. Tim, this is what I mean. I'm from just watching what Ohio State has done well today. It really hasn't been their passing game. It hasn't been the razzle-dazzle. It's just been straight ahead, man-for-man blocking, and just run it down their throats.
Well, I agree. That is where their success has come. They are so big and strong. They average about 284 yards, 285 yards across that front. And right now, they're dominating the line of scrimmage.
I mean, for them to be successful, their game is the running game. Second down and 2 from the 25. DJ Jones, the tight end, moves over to the near side. He's number 89. Right up the middle, and the first down, no problem by Raymond Harris. See, they've just got so much size up front with Hartman at 280, Long at 285, Mono at 275. In the middle of that defensive line for Georgia goes 260, 245, and 270.
But you know that play that you were talking about, the little shuffle pass, the Utah pass, that's basically like a running play. Yeah. I mean, you're still using their blocking. It's like a trap or a counter tray.
First and 10, Raymond Harris one more time, trying to get to the outside. Gain of about 3 on the play before Chris Wilson, the left cornerback out of Macon, Georgia, brings him down. Wilson's a versatile player for this University of Georgia football team. He's played a lot of different positions for him.
Roger, Smith and Hearst were compared all week. You know that, and both are special athletes, but there's a difference in their holiday spirit. Robert Smith said he'd rather be home spending the holidays with his family. Hearst said, hey, he loves his family, but he'd rather be here playing than sitting home watching.
Second and 6. Smith now 21 carries, 98 yards, as Sanders is the motion man as they give it to Smith. And deep. You know, that reminds me from where he sets up there of the old Southern Cal, power I, deep back there, let those blockers sort of move out on the men, and then he reads to where the hole is.
Very much so. Read and react. But I think that's what made that Utah pass, why it came into Joe's mind, why he would call something like that, because then when the defense gets very aggressive, then let them run out and just try to slip it in under them.
Smith has gone over the 100-yard mark today. Third down and 3. The ball at the 13. Ohio State needs to get to the 10. Graffenried and Beatty are split to the top, and they'll go to Robert Smith one more time, and he's going to be very close. He's going to be very close. See where the official spots it.
Depending on that mark, you're not kidding. He's right up near it, but I'm not so sure he got it. Look how close that is.
Okay. Good call for John Cooper and Ohio State here. 4:34 to go, third quarter. They trail at 14-7. Buckeyes 8 of 12, 67% on fourth down situations this year.
I'm a big believer in a short yardage situation like this, don't risk a handoff. Don't take time. Just quarterback sneaking right up behind Long, who's probably the best center in the Big Ten.
They've got 42 William Houston in at fullback. He's 6'1", 260 pounds, essentially a guard wearing a running back number. He's in front of Robert Smith. They sneak it. Good call right there. Good call by Ohio State, and Herbstreit gets the first down. Man, all those backers, everybody was focused back there on Robert Smith, and Herbstreit just went around the center.
Absolutely. Well, that's what I'm saying, especially when you got a guy like Long in front of you. He's 6'5", 280, the best center perhaps in the Big Ten. High school wrestling champion. Watch this. Herbstreit knows where they're coming, just tries to go in between them. Saw 45 Evans, just went opposite.
First and goal from the 9. Smith down to the 5-yard line. Chris Wilson comes up to make the tackle, and this offensive line right now, Ohio State dominating on this drive. Once again, they have the good field position off the short punt and the return.
You know, John Cooper, the head coach, he looks at this game as a way to recruit Florida kids. He hopes this will attract more players from this area. There are 3 Floridians on the roster now. He likes them. That's Tito Paul and Chico Nelson and Cedric Saunders.
Second and goal from the 5. Smith. How about this? He scrolls in twice today. Alan Klein, 67. Len Hartman, 52 on the left side of that Ohio State line. Huge hole.
Well, if John Cooper wants to showcase his team to the Florida kids, he did it right here. I'm telling you, untouched, just open that thing up and flowed into the end zone. Pretty drive.
Tim Williams to attempt the point after. And it's good.
Boy, that was Big Ten power football.
3:31 left to go, third quarter. From the Florida Citrus Bowl, we're tied at 14. Georgia's trying to wear out this Ohio State defense right now, running these quick plays, going out of the shotgun on 3rd and 3. Hassan Graham with the catch. Nicely done at midfield. Perfect throw from Eric Zier. Jim Walton was there to bring him down along with Roger Harper.
You are seeing a masterpiece from Eric Zier. He is a big-time quarterback. This ball has to be perfectly placed. It is. Graham goes up and gets it. The only place he could between the 2 defenders.
1st and 10 right from the 50. Handoff goes inside, and Frank Harvey cuts it out as he gets to the 45-yard line, where Lorenzo Stiles, number 90, and Randall Brown, 56, come up to make the tackle. Harvey getting some playing time, junior from Dawson, Georgia.
He's like a guard wearing number 7 and stuck in the backfield. 245 pounds.
I had lunch with him the other day at the banquet as Dyer goes downfield to Graham, just past his outstretched hands. Walter Taylor was back there on the coverage, but at the luncheon the other day for the Florida Citrus Bowl, they had players from each of the teams sit at the tables, and Harvey was at our table, and Dick Schultz from the NCAA said, I can't eat all my prime rib, would you like to help? And he had about 3 other pieces of prime rib there. Everybody kind of slid it over for Frank Harvey.
I bet if he didn't have the game today, he'd still be there eating.
3rd and 5 from the 45-yard line. Zier off the shoulder pad of his intended receiver, Andre Hastings. Chico Nelson was back on the coverage, and I think the coverage was so good that Hastings never saw the football.
No, he didn't, and it's another one of those that hit him in the face mask. They'll have to punt it now. What they'd like to do now is just pooch this thing and get Ohio State backed up, but they had a good drive going, and then the incompletions, and here they are punting the football away.
48 seconds left to go. Third quarter, Scott Armstrong, a junior from Jackson, Mississippi, sends one deep, and that's going to go into the end zone. Ohio State will get it back with 40 seconds left. We're tied at 14 in the Florida Citrus Bowl. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. And at the Blockbuster Bowl, Stanford leads Penn State 14-3, third quarter. Of course, Penn State making the move next year to the Big Ten, and they're on Ohio State's schedule. Handoff. Butler Benoto to the 25-yard line. Greg Trimble, Chris Wilson make the stop. Benote is a 5'11", 190-pound junior out of East St. Louis, Illinois. He's an All-American sprinter on the 4x100-meter relay team at Ohio State. Ohio State has a lot of track guys besides Robert Smith. Benote, Sanders is their long jump record holder.
Well, those are the three that missed spring practice to be with the track team.
We've completed 3 quarters of play from the Florida Citrus Bowl, and we'll return with more action after this message and a word from our ABC stations. The Florida Citrus Bowl in Orlando, Florida, where we start the final 15 minutes. Ohio State and Georgia tied up at 14 apiece. 3rd and 5 from the 25. I guess you have to show it once in a while. And down the middle, Robert Smith with the reception, and it's going to be very close to the first down. He needed to get to the 30.
He had the first down, tried a spin move, lost yardage, and I'm not sure he got it now, depending on the mark.
Blockbuster Bowl, Stanford leads Penn State in the 3rd quarter.
They're not even going to measure. They need about a foot more. And that'll cause a punt. So he had the first and then lost it.
It's a mistake by a player who's trying to get a little bit too much when he didn't really need it.
You're right.
Joel Kessel will go back to punt, standing at the 15-yard line, his 7th punt of the day. And Andre Hastings at the 35, so conceivably Georgia should get good field position on this next possession. That's Kessel's best punt of the day. Gets a big bounce and will be downed at the 19-yard line. So Kessel with his best punt of the day, and 13:45 left to go. After the 52-yard punt, Georgia will take over. All tied up at 14 here at the Florida Citrus Bowl. 31st bowl appearance for the University of Georgia. They've been in bowl games 12 of the last 13 years. Garrison Hearst right side. Hearst first down to the 33.
It is showtime for Robert Smith and Garrison Hearst.
13 yards on the pickup. And Happy New Year, everybody. Along with Tim Brand, Mark Jones, I'm Roger Twibell. Tied at 14, Georgia and Ohio State in the 4th quarter. 8:17 left to go. 1st and 10. Bulldog from the 33-yard line. Zier throwing underneath as Hearst just swung out of the backfield a couple of yards. And the ball hit him in the hands, and he dropped it. And it's 2nd and 10 from the 33-yard line. Garrison Hearst stepping his way to the 45.
He's now past his average. He averages 141 yards a game. He's got 143 now. And I'm telling you, you can look at him and tell that he is feeling it. He's got the rhythm, and he's playing extremely well.
144 yards rushing. In 8 of 11 games this year, the University of Georgia has rushed for over 200 yards. The only game they didn't rush for at least 100 was the Ole Miss game.
His feet are moving so quick through those holes, he looks like a guy tap dancing on a light bulb.
1st and 10, 44-yard line. 7:45 to go. Terrell Davis, 33, in there right now for the University of Georgia. The play action, Zier down the middle. He's got his tight end, Shannon Mitchell. Mitchell inside the 35, and let's go to Mark Jones. Mark?
Yeah, Tim, Roger, Kirk Herbstreit just told me what happened on that last Ohio State fumble. He checked off at the line of scrimmage. He told me he called red. The fullback thought he said right. Because of the noise, of course, he couldn't hear him, hence the ensuing fumble. Back up to you guys.
Okay, Mark, thanks so much. Today's attendance, 65,861, 3rd highest attendance in stadium history. 1st and 10, 35-yard line. 2nd man through, number 33, the ball carrier, Terrell Davis, a sophomore from San Diego. Good surge there. Gets about 4. Greg Smith, the nose tackle. And Craig Powell, the freshman backer, number 84, 6'5", 230. They say this guy can run step for step with Robert Smith in wind sprints after practice.
John Cooper very, very sensitive when his team's speed is questioned. That became an item here in the last couple of days. He says his linebackers are as fast, if not faster, than everybody in the country.
Second and let's call it 7 as Hastings comes in motion at the 32-yard line. They're going to swing it to Hastings. And leaves 1 tackle. Hits down as a penalty marker is thrown to the 26-yard line.
Face mask. 5-yard penalty.
Tim, you're just too good up here. You got all the calls.
Stop it. Don't start.
You got all the calls. So the little swing pass to Hastings, he was able to pick up nearly enough for the first down, but with the 5-yard penalty tacked on now, 1st and 10 as they move the ball to the 21-yard line. Let's see it to Max Strong. And Strong trying to get it outside. They get it inside the 15, and they spot it down at the 13-yard line. So gain of about 3 that time as Craig Powell, 84, and Tim Walton, 18. Were over there to make the tackle. So they gave you a little bit different look that time. They used Hearst as a blocker, and they let Max Strong.
Roger Harper, the strong safety, showed you why he's an all-conference player, too. He's the guy that strung it out all the way across the field laterally so the pursuit guys can come up and make the tackle.
Less than 6 minutes to go. 2nd down and 2 on the 14-yard line. Checking off the line of scrimmage. They give it to Hearst. He is stuck. Hearst goes nowhere. Going to be short of the first down. Lorenzo Stiles, number 90, the freshman from Farrell, Pennsylvania. He's 6'3", 230-pounder. They've got some good young linebackers with Stiles and Powell. And this is going to bring up Tim a 3rd down and 2. What do you think here? Maybe go to the end zone, if not settle for the field goal?
Well, defensively, you got to be thinking you're coming with a power. But it's not a bad time to throw to the wide side, and I would roll Zaire that direction so he can run if nobody's open.
They'll give it to Hearst. He gets outside. He's got the first down. Hearst! They say he stepped out at the 5-yard line. Man, is he quick. When he hits that corner, he cuts it upfield so fast.
How about that, too? We're talking about coming to the wide side of the field. Ohio State had loaded this way, and then Georgia goes back to the boundary. You talk about breaking tendencies and predictability.
Garrison Hearst has had a big-time day.
When in doubt, give it to Hearst. He'll make it happen even if there's nothing there. Watch how close this is to becoming a touchdown. He just barely touched the white line right there.
25 carries, 152 yards for Garrison Hearst. 1st and goal, 5-yard line. First back through is Harvey. Georgia players looking for a signal as Frank Harvey, number 7, takes it down very close to the goal line. You can see where that ball's spotted. Craig Powell, 84, made the tackle, so with the clock running, 4:50 left to go in this game, Georgia just inches from taking the lead against Ohio State. Harvey 7, Hearst 5, the running backs. Max Strong in the slot to the left. Harvey, the first back through. Yeah, they got the signal. Touchdown.
We have talked a great deal about the Ohio State offensive linemen, but how about the Georgia Bulldogs? Watch Swan, the center, and Robertson Taylor. Watch the push they get. Then here he comes, big Frank Harvey, 243 pounds. He's like a guard himself. He's in right there. Touchdown.
Point after attempt is good by Todd Peterson.
Now the question is, did Georgia score too quickly? Still 4:32 left.
21-14, Bulldogs lead it. Thanks, Brent. Georgia leads Ohio State 21-14 after they take the turnover, march down the field, get the touchdown from that man, Frank Harvey. Just his third rushing touchdown of the year. You see the scoring drive, 11 plays, 80 yards. Very unlike Georgia to take that many plays, but the time, yeah, that's more consistent with that quick strike offense, about 4 minutes.
Yes, it is. You know, at the very beginning of this game, we said Ohio State would be keying on Garrison Hearst. Well, Hearst has had a big day. But then we said it could be Zaire and Hastings would have to pick up the slack. And Hastings today, 8 receptions, 114 yards, and that's a Georgia Bowl record.
4:32 left to go. Georgia 21, Ohio State 14 as Peterson will kick it off. Benote will take it at the 10. Near side, Butler Benote at the 35-yard line. So pretty good field position as we take a look at the game summary so far today. Hearst 151 yards rushing, a couple of touchdowns. The Bulldogs 440 total yards. Sounds familiar, doesn't it, Tim? Pretty close to what that per game record was this year. And Hastings, as you mentioned, the Buckeye Smith 112 yards rushing. Tovar 8 tackles, the forced fumble and a sack. So the players who came into this game being touted as the big play individuals for their respective teams have shown up and played well today. First and 10, 35-yard line. Third street, play action. Flushed out of the pocket and dumped. Look there, Mitch Davis, 58, the junior from Mobile, Alabama. He's been a force to be reckoned with this afternoon.
He's played everywhere in that defense, too. He's a parade high school All-American, now a junior, but he's played inside linebacker, played at safety, played some outside linebacker, and the thing he does better than anything is run to the football. Look at him here. Breaks down, not taken by any fake by Herbstreit, and chases him from behind.
Yeah, Tim, in all honesty, this is where Ohio State gets in trouble. Late in the game when they're behind. Their offense is just not geared to come from behind and throw the football. Davis has got 2 sacks today. They know. Play fake. Yeah, play action is not going to fool many people when you're down by a touchdown with less than 4 minutes to go. 2nd and 17. Underneath, they go to Cochran. Cochran trying to make something happen. Went backwards after he got up to the 34-yard line as Mike Jones, the senior from Thomasville, Georgia, 6'3" and 220. Speaking of Thomasville, you know who's from Thomasville, Georgia, though? Or Julie Moran.
Julie's from Thomasville,
Yeah.
huh? I know she's a Georgia fan, and her granddaddy played there, coached there.
And Mike just happens to be the brother of Sean, the Georgia Tech quarterback.
Oh, I did know that.
Yeah.
I did know that.
3rd down and 11. 3:16 left to go in this football game. Georgia leads it 21-14. Pass deflected. Back on the coverage, Mike Jones, number 9, to knock it down. The intended receiver, Cedric Saunders, the tight end, and they call him the dean of the defense with 26 consecutive starts.
He has been that today, too. He's played extremely well. They moved Jones out to the outside early on. They brought him on some blitzes. He's been in that strong safety spot. He's been good against the run and pass defense.
4th down and 11 as Joel Kessel needs to get a big punt. Andre Hastings back deep. Look at his return yards today. He's back at the 25-yard line. And Kessel, it's a high spiral to the near side. It's going to go out of bounds, and the official running up the field and up the field. And Georgia is going to get it at the 39-yard line. 28 yards on the punt by Joel Kessel. And with 2:51 left to go, the Buckeyes, with just 2 timeouts remaining, trail it 21-14. And now this Ohio State defense, which has been the backbone of the Buckeye team all year. And keep in mind that Ohio State has not lost a football game since Illinois beat them back in October the 10th. They've got to come through at this time.
They cannot allow a first down. They're banking on getting the ball back with a minute left in the game.
Split backs. Now Hearst will shift back along with Max Strong, number 32. First. Cuts back. A lot of moving around. Maybe gets a yard to the 41-yard line.
They've got 2 timeouts left. As you mentioned, they're going to save it. They're going to save one for offense. They are not taking one here. The clock continues to move at 2:34. Zier content to take his time. Play clock down to 15 seconds.
In the Mobile Cotton Bowl, Notre Dame beats Texas A&M 28-3. First loss for the Aggies this year. In Blockbuster Bowl, Stanford 24-3 over Penn State. 2nd and 10 from the 40. Hearst cuts it outside. 1 tackle is missed. Hearst is going to get the first down across midfield to the 48-yard line. Tim Walton makes the tackle, 12 yards on the pickup by Garrison Hearst, as he just keeps on running and running and running. And John Cooper, the head coach at Ohio State, trying to urge his team on. They've got 2 timeouts left, 1:55 left to go. Cooper, the first coach in Ohio State history to lose 3 consecutive bowl games, is in danger of losing his 4th straight bowl game with the Buckeyes. And there's a look at Garrison Hearst. January 6th is the D.
Hearst very wisely skated bounds too, Roger.
Davis, he's running hard off the left side, and look at this Georgia team has fought back. Jason Simmons, 91, made the stop, and Ohio State's going to burn a timeout. They'll have 1 left with 1:27 to go here from the Florida Citrus Bowl. There's nobody that wants to win more at Ohio State than John Cooper. 8-2-1 this year. Lost a couple close games early in the year to Wisconsin and Illinois, and the tie with Michigan. Ray Goff feeling pretty good right now with 1:27 to go. Leads at 21-14. 2nd and 5 at the 43-yard line, and the Buckeyes have just 1 timeout remaining. Tovar got in there, and they called timeout immediately at midfield. Boy, Steve Tovar was coming hard all the way that time, and that's going to set up a 3rd down situation with 1:23 left to go. Let's see, Garrison Hearst, 163 yards. That's a Georgia bowl game record, 163 yards rushing. The Citrus Bowl record back years ago when it was a Tangerine Bowl by Jimmy Gray of East Texas State, 174 yards back in 1953. Another record today, Andre Hastings with 8 receptions now has become the all-time leading receiver, passing Lindsey Scott with 132 receptions. 3rd down and 7. Ohio State out of timeouts. Garrison Hearst tries to cut back up, and he is stopped at the 45-yard line. Derek Foster, 94 over there, the initial man to hit him. So Georgia now going to let this clock run down. And Ohio State
gambled that they get the ball back with about a minute left, and that's about what's going to happen here.
Ohio State is going to get the ball back.
Goff did not want the clock to stop. It did at 1:11. Now they roll it again as they put it back in play. He's going to take every bit of that 25-second clock and let it go down, which would take the game clock down to about 47 seconds.
There it is. So the penalty, they call a timeout, Tim. Did they take the penalty or did they call a timeout? Looked like the official signaled toward Georgia to take the timeout so that they didn't take the penalty. Yes. Scott Armstrong had 1 punt blocked in his career out of 156 punts. 4th down and 7. Robert Smith is back. And pretty good pressure that time. Line drive kick, and Smith's going to take it. Comes to the near side, out of bounds at the 18-yard line with 37 seconds left to go, and we'll just keep it right here at the Florida Citrus Bowl. And John Cooper, Ohio State with it. 1st and 10. They mark it at the 19-yard line.
You just have to throw it and hope.
37 seconds left to go. They need the touchdown, 2-point conversion to win it. Herbstreit moves up in the pocket, still moving. Now he's going to run it. Herbstreit slides. He's got the first down, and that'll stop the clock as he's up to the 40-yard line. So that's what they need to do, get a couple of quick first downs here to get that clock stopped. And now Herbstreit trying to get his guys back in position. with 27 seconds left to go. Ball at the 36-yard line, and he throws it right down. And that'll stop it with 25 seconds left.
Good heady play by Hearst. Buys a little bit of time, at least, to come back in.
Oh, Tim, we were talking a little bit earlier about John Cooper's situation at Ohio State University. He told us the other day, in regards to his contract situation, that he's got just signed a new contract, has 3 years remaining. But Dr. Gee said earlier in December that he says, well, he'll definitely be back next year. Without that long-range commitment, without that planning that goes into it, it's kind of hard to go out and recruit kids when there's a question in their minds whether the coach can be around another year or not.
Well, that's why they gave him at least that 1-year commitment, so that it would not hurt the recruiting for this year. But you're right, the speculation, if I'm a kid and I'm saying, am I going to Ohio State, is Cooper going to be there? I know the alumni has been very hard on him, and they will be until he can beat Michigan.
And win a bowl game.
Right.
Trips to the near side on 2nd down and 10. Penalty markers down. Herbst eludes one tackler. Got a man open down the far side and overthrown. The intended receiver was Chris Sanders. Looked like he lost sight of the football. Had a defender back there jumping up in front of him, Greg Trimble. Once again, Stabline, the leading receiver for Ohio State, out with the knee injury.
Got a shot there briefly on the sidelines of Eric Zier, and folks, he is some kind of player.
2nd down, 15 from the 31-yard line. And that should be pass interference, and it is. Right at midfield. 53, Damon Ward was right in the back of Alan DeGraffenried. So 13 seconds remain.
Watch this. Damon Ward doesn't even try to hide it. There he is to the right of your screen. Number 53. Look, just shoves him from behind. I think he felt he's going to make this catch anyway. I'm just going to go ahead and drill him. Mark it off, 15 yards, and there it is.
John Cooper, who's gone through a lot of changes on his coaching staff the last couple of years. It'll be interesting to see what next year holds for Cooper and the Ohio State Buckeyes. 1st and 10 from the 48-yard line. Herbst trying to go to the sideline and out of bounds. Cedric Saunders, the tight end, makes the catch. Just 7 seconds now remain. They mark it at the 49-yard line, and I think this might be a good time, Tim, to go downfield with it.
That's it. They only have one play left, so they've got to throw it up as far as he can and just do the old Hail Mary.
They'll send trips to the near side. 7 seconds left to go. 21-14. Georgia leads Ohio State, and Herbst will throw it with all of his might. Intercepted. Number 9, Mike Jones, his 2nd interception of the year. And the Georgia Bulldogs have beaten the Buckeyes of Ohio State 21-14 in the Florida Citrus Bowl.